asymptotically towards the end of the workshop, and
Oh, you need it?
don't turn it off. Yeah. We have been talking about open problems, and any discussion on open problems is incomplete without talking about Hilbert, who posed some of the most challenging open problems at the turn of 19th and 20th century. And in that spirit, I have my, we'll be talking about some open problems.
I will, no, I will, no, there are, I won't use this, it's not needed. I'll ask for your indulgence and see if I can connect to the net and just show you some problems. This is a joke that has been repeated so many times in my immediate circle that it is no longer funny, but is it on or off? It seems to be off. But if I can connect to the net, then I will just show you these problems. So Hilbert, you see the problem with open problems are unsolved problems which many people have tried to solve and failed. And the difficulty with these problems is that they are hard to solve. Right? You try to solve them and you will find that it may be open for others, but it is closed for you. And my strategy more or less in making a living is to solve unsolved problems that other people have not tried to solve. And then you have a chance of making some progress. What are you doing?
I'm thinking.
You have to spell my name right. So, the closest engineer I know to Hilbert is actually Dilbert. Dilbert is a fictional cartoon character. He works in a cubicle. He has an evil, stupid boss who doesn't appreciate him, and he solves these small practical problems for which he is punished by the management. And I think that Dilbert's life is much closer to the typical life of an engineer. And so for a bit of humor only, I called these. Oh, this is the most nice looking picture of my entire adult life. And I have a cousin, a sister, who wrote to me recently saying that I have gone from face cream to the 7 signs of aging face cream, but your picture is not getting older. And I said that's how it is going to be until the institute sends me a memo. But here are some problems. These are hardly open problems. These are Dilbert's problems. That's just a silly name. It doesn't matter. These are just some math problems. And I would suggest, in case you are interested, you could try these problems. If you like the way I approached rotations, then you may like these problems. And the way in which I approach rotations, when we learned programming as undergraduates, we used to write these spaghetti code, we had all these go-to statements and things like that, which we don't do now. We try to write modular programs, and in our computations also it is better if we take these modular view. If our thinking is modular, it is better. And it is with this view that I have put these problems together. They are for students to solve. There are various problems here. For example, I don't know if you can read it. The very first one is just a trivial problem. Use MATLAB, solve some ODE. The second one, for example, there is a parameter in the ODE which I don't know, but I know an extra thing and I want to find out what the value of that parameter is. And so on. It goes like this. There are various problems. There are boundary value problems. There are integrals to be found using Simpson's rule. So you find this integral by Simpson's rule and it is very easy. And then you find this one and there are singularities, you see, and then it is harder and you have to think about it and think about the accuracy of your solution. And I have put sort of partial solutions at the end. So here are my partial answers, there are several pages. So I've discussed all these things. And I have this set of problems is really useful to me in different ways. One way in which it is useful is that when I get PG students who are going to work with me, I tell them to work on these problems. So I have done the work once of posing the problems and putting the solutions, and the students who work through them, several of them have appreciated the problems, and I have found that they have developed skills that are useful in their subsequent work. The other way in which it is very important is that periodically students, undergraduate students, tell me they want to do a project in the summer, and then I ask them, do you want to do a project so that I can later write a letter of recommendation for you, or do you want to do a project so that you learn something useful? And you see, this is a politically loaded question. They have to say that they want to do a project so that they can learn something useful. At which point I say, please solve these problems. And they go away and I never see them again. So these are two ways in which these problems are useful. If you like them, please, you can show them to your students. Thank you.
And just one more. Since you're at it, you can go back to the web page and show something else that you have there, how to write a scientific paper. You all need that.
I don't know if it is that useful, but here it is. Wait, this won't work? Oh, I see. All right. Here, this is the one, right? This is another article that I wrote. I don't know if your students will find it useful. I am not sure my students have found it useful, but I did write it, and the intent is the intent is to give simple rules to inexperienced students so that they can produce a report that is possible. And my main message is here. Art requires talent. In contrast, through discipline and persistence alone, you can learn how to differentiate functions and ride bicycles. Similarly, you can write a possible technical paper. You just have to realize that your job does not end with research. Writing a paper involves extra work. And what you have to do is, in my opinion, the things that you need to remember are what I describe in this article. You can take a look at it. When I wrote it, I was very hopeful. These days, based on what my students are producing, even after they read this paper, read this article, I am less hopeful. Writing is not that easy, actually. I mean, anyone who has struggled through the process of learning how to write technical articles may find things in this article that they enjoy, but the students don't really get it. So, it is like small children reading love poems. They don't understand, basically. Thank you.
I think we can safely say good afternoon, everybody. I think we are winding up just when we are warming up. That's very sad, but we have to do that. Big thanks to all the speakers, and this would not have been possible without this big group of very, very active and sincere faculty members here who took all the pains to run the show, and the staff who supported us in various activities. More than that, we will also have to thank the institution itself for providing us this beautiful facility. I would like Professor Manna, our director, to address the gathering and share a few words with them and a few thoughts, okay, so that we can continue this association which we have started right now. The summary of the exercise would have been best given by either Sovan or Shakti, but let me try to do some justice to it. So the idea was that we wanted to first of all get people working in applied mechanics, which means people spreading across mechanical engineering, civil engineering, chemical engineering, production engineering, and aerospace, to come together and get into a mode where we initiate a joint thought on several interesting research topics, teaching topics. So research topics was something that our expert lecturers kind of tried to get people started on. What has come out of it is that each one of the lecturers have been requested to give one burning problem, which will be put up on the TechUp website for anybody to address. What also has happened is that there has been a lot of interaction. It was not a one-way traffic. In fact, nothing would happen without the two-way traffic. And out of that, many people, many faculty from institutions across our quality circle have come up with ideas which they would like to pursue. Okay? We are open to that. As TKIC, whatever we could do, we'll do that to initiate. First, what I was thinking is that you have an idea, come with that idea. We'll create a small so-called expert group to discuss that idea with them. You are the boss, you lead the show. After the discussion, you have clarity as to how we should go about it. How can the idea be taken to fruition? And so some very nice ideas have come up. And what we have requested them to do is to send these in a small 2-page write-up so that then we can initiate the next part of it. So this is another outcome which has happened out of it. For example, one professor from NIT Kurukshetra, he was talking about the waterlogging problem and how the river in the under the flyovers. So he's proposing a methodology to overcome that. Nice. So we would like to initiate discussion on that idea so that this can then become a topic to work on. So this was the other part that we did. Then there were these lectures on, I would say, pedagogical issues which are often badly communicated in a classroom or not properly communicated. For example, the concept of stress. Okay, and I think there's a very interesting lecture by Anurag on what is stress and the history of stress. Okay. So then rotations. Anindya talked about rotations, and in his usual flamboyant style, he floored us all with it. Okay, so that's guaranteed. When he speaks, he floors people. Then we had a talk on Reynolds transport theorem. So we want to bring in the continuum mechanics concepts into the curriculum, rather than looking at things in a compartmentalized thing, which was again a very good talk. So we had several talks across pedagogy, research, which we believe is going to initiate more discussions in future. All these lectures will have been put up on the TKIC webpage so that anybody can access them whenever they feel like, and people can question them. That's where the discussions come in. You can stand up and say, I don't like what you have derived, and that's about it. And then we'll go about it trying to make it better. And that was what I felt. We are now going from an IT Kanpur as an institution to a quality circle family. Okay, if that happens, good. So this is what we have done. I think by the end of it, this is what we have achieved. Notwithstanding the great lectures we had, some fantastic lectures.
The faculty members who delivered lectures in this particular edition of TechUp, my own faculty colleagues from the institute and students here, and in particular the participants from different institutions. It's a great pleasure for me that I'm at least able to address you at the fag end of this particular session. But I would like to utilize this as an opportunity to welcome you to the next session and the next and the next. As an academic institution, what we can do in order to serve to the society, and the best way to do that is to generate new knowledge. And knowledge grows by interaction. So this whole exercise is essentially to percolate that initiative to all the neighboring institutions. We have chosen mechanics as a theme subject for this particular initiative, but I think we have also a few other things in mind. And the whole exercise basically is aimed at developing an ecosystem. Now, IITs cannot be an isolated island and serve as a center of excellence. The excellence cannot just start suddenly at point zero and then grow to a very tall order without having a good feeding system from the neighborhood. So over the years, all IITs, that's how have benefited, developed, progressed, and also given back to the system around, the society around. So this whole exercise of TechPIP 2, in particular TKIC in IIT Kanpur, is geared towards that. So we are looking at essentially a mechanism through which we'll be able to interact with the faculty members from different institutions around, bring them over here periodically for a certain period of time. And then that would, like Professor Upadhyay mentioned, that every faculty member, whoever has addressed in this, were asked to identify one very major and a very interesting problem, which all of you, those who have participated, could address later on and continue to think about that. So this is how knowledge percolates. And I'm very sure that with this exercise, some new ideas, some new initiatives certainly would come. But these days we have come to a stage where, leave alone ministry, even a common stakeholder and a general citizen of the country, even everybody wants that IITs, or for that matter all institutes of higher education, should go beyond just creating knowledge, should also try to create a mechanism of translating knowledge into viable technologies and products. For that, we need larger participation. The other day I heard a very nice term, because there are people who are very innovative in coining new terms. So we were used to using a term called incubator, which are typically the centers which are used for translating such, bringing in industry and then trying to create a new process or a product. But then the other day, one of my friends said, now is a time when nobody talks any longer about incubator. I said, then what is the new buzzword? He says, accelerator. So now you have to accelerate the process. So whatever it is, essentially the society as a whole is looking for provisions where we are able to actively engage the entire population for translating knowledge into viable technologies and product. So we need to empower people. We need to raise the bar for thinking process. And that's exactly what I think this workshop would have done. And I was told there's a very good response in terms of participation. And looking by the list of the faculty members who addressed, I certainly think Professor Upadhyay and his team has done a marvelous job in collecting so many experts from the field. But going by the topics, I was a little scared. I myself got a little scared. They probably appeared to be fairly advanced. But I'm sure the lecturers would have made things fairly simple when they actually delivered the lecture. So this process will continue, and please spread the message that IIT Kanpur is committed to continue with this activity. We actually have a grandiose plan of having a very nice center which will have smart classrooms for delivering lectures through video and connecting to different centers. Maybe a few years down the line, we'll have a provision of delivering a lecture in Kanpur which can be beamed straight away to your place, or vice versa. Some event in your place can be beamed here for another set of audience. But that will take a while. Until then, we'll continue to do the way we are doing, and possibly we'll try to also come up with some structured lecture volumes which could be used, because what actually in our system, what I personally feel as an academic is fairly missing is it is very much in our ethos and in our tradition that a guru becomes a super guru, and so long he lives, his disciples, they derive the benefit. But we were not good in documentation, unlike what happens in the West. In the West, everything is documented, and that is their tradition, and that's how they benefited, and that's how they had the fruits of Industrial Revolution. Whereas we showed the world we showed the world the concept of zero, and we even started talking about solar system hundreds of years before even they could start writing. But then in between something happened, and in my personal opinion, what we actually should have done was to document all these knowledge that we generated. So to come back to today's perspective, I think what we need is, when we talk of model curriculum, model lecturing, and model education, it should not be an individual based, should not be based on one brilliant professor and his pedagogy. We should create good lecture, not notes. I'm totally against notes, but overall structure of the way the course should be developed. So this lecture slides, certain guidelines would be very useful, and that should be shared. So when it goes to the engineering colleges around the places, they can serve as a guideline as to how should we design our lectures for even very fundamental subjects. So I would thank you all for coming here, and I hope your stay was enjoyable, and would again utilize this opportunity to, I would be very happy to welcome you back in our campus very soon, whenever Professor Upadhyay and his team arranges the next lecture series. So thank you very much for your attention, and now Professor Upadhyay, I think you should invite Mrs.
We have some prizes for the poster presentation that we have. So,
But I thought we have Mrs. Sharma here.
okay, so we had another smaller component to this workshop, where we had invited some of our own students and some of the students who are visiting us to put up some posters of their work, and we had 9 posters overall, and 9 posters, and so we just out of these 9 posters, we are giving one particular poster. The 9 boxes. I think so. I'm also assuming that. They're not. They're only 6. No, they're 9 boxes. Yeah. So there is large. So
there's some gradation.
You're right. I mean, just a smaller one. So if Arghya Sen Gupta can come up on the stage. He's from Besu Shivpur. So we are giving him the best poster award. The title of his poster is "Structures Under Seismic Attack Effect of Biaxial Interaction." Okay, so I'll just quickly rush through the other posters, and then the guys can come on stage and collect your award. Brijesh Kumar Pandey and S.K. Mukherjee, Besu Shivpur. The poster was on computational design approach for high-speed maglev in ETT. Right? Yeah, come. Oh, I'm sorry. Complete absent-mindedness on my part. I mean, you can see how good I am at this. Still better than not keeping one for myself. Okay, Rajiv Sharma and Kantesh Balani. He's our own student. Okay, that's why he's absent. Okay, then Anish Kumar, who's worked with, he's also one of our students. He worked with Pankaj Wahi and Shovan Das. He worked on, the poster was on buckling of thin-walled circular cylindrical sheds. Then The next one is Anup Basak. He's actually my PhD student. His poster was on shape evolution of closed grain boundary and normal and coupled motion. Yeah, he's not PhD.
That doesn't disqualify me.
The next is Tushar Kiran, SK Shrivastava, MEC, Gorakhpur. This poster was on computer-aided analysis and simulation of cam follower mechanism. Another one from MEC Gorakhpur, SN Chaudhary and Manish. And the poster was on explicit equation for spherical particle settling velocity. Another one from Besu Shivpur. Prateek Sinha and S. Bhaumik. Poster was on design approach for RC. The last one from IIT Kurukshetra University, Parinam Anuruddh, S. Dhingra and S. Kumar. And the poster was on effect of second Newtonian viscosity on the AHL characteristics of shear thinning lubricants. Thanks a lot. Showan had suggested an addition, just a minor addition, if Chandra would allow, onto what Chandra has said on what we learned from this workshop. Okay. I think so. I mean, one very interesting thing that we saw, contrary to how we teach in class, is how areas dealing with fluid mechanics, solid mechanics, and dynamics can all be seen through the common lens, something that we don't do usually in our classroom teaching. But in this workshop, we had sort of amalgamated all these topics into one and really had not distinguished them from one another. So I think that was another intention which we had in organizing this workshop, to present this whole area as one big area. So that is another thing. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Anurag, I had one issue, that two bodies, one cup. You have to sort that problem out. Okay. So, all this would not have been possible without the, I would say, the support and the push of MHRD. And in MHRD, the additional secretary, Mrs. Sharma, who's here, and she has been in all these meetings very diligently, very patiently listening to things, observing, absorbing, and then giving a suggestion as to how we go further. So I would like her to come and address us and also tell us what is it that she would like from us as a country, as a group of institutions to do.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. So it's really, I really enjoy being here in all these workshops. I was telling someone that it's work for you, but it's really work escape for me, because I'd rather be here and be part of your workshop than be part of the Shastri Bhavan's files. So this is where the action is, this is where knowledge is created. And I think the whole relationship of the MHRD with the knowledge institutions of which you represent here right now should be exactly this, an engagement with the construction of knowledge and sharing of knowledge. And that's the whole idea behind the quality circle. There are three, just because we're all here together and the director IITK is also here, there are three impulses that are prompting me and I guess prompting the ministry to foreground this whole dialogue of an academic engagement between institutions with the potential for really contributing to the excellence of engineering education in the country. These are three. The first one actually is an amendment in the IIT Act itself. It was done in the year 2012. It announced a statutory mandate for the IITs to actually engage with the quality, enhancement of quality of the other engineering institutions. So it's almost like a kind of a part of the charter of the IIT's own identity. So that's one. But there's a second one which has just recently emerged, and that is the excuse me, is the cabinet approval to the Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhiyan. That's the RUSA. You have heard about that, which is a concerted effort now of the central government to fund the growth of state universities, and state engineering colleges are part of that. So the huge, it's about a 90,000 crore budget for in the 12th plan itself. That's a huge opportunity where there's going to be financial support to encourage qualitative reform processes that are built both on policy reform as well as obviously academic process reform. And the TECIP actually is like a microcosm of what RUSA expects to do, because in TECIP we have, and those who are familiar with TECIP would know that, but I'm just repeating that because the model is the same, where you're looking at an engagement which is essentially academic in nature, the kind of the TECIP conclave you had right now. So you're discussing solid mechanics or fluid mechanics, but in effect, this whole process of academic engagement is usually highlights those kind of gaps which are in the policy itself. So like in one of the TECIP conclave I went to in IIT Gandhinagar, the director of IIT Gandhinagar actually said, well, I'm not going to do this unless the state government actually changes its policies of teacher placement and teacher transfer. So the point he was trying to make was, you really can't undertake initiatives of academic excellence unless they are backed by a whole lot of policy support as well. So one of the requests to the TECIP conclave organizers here is that when you make your report, it would be good to, in your side discussions, to highlight those kind of policy gaps or policy deviations and correctives that you want, correctives to deviations that you want. This will help us as well as state governments. And now that's the trail that RUSA is picking up, because if you have these policy gaps for which the government has to pay attention to, then these kind of conclaves give you an opportunity for analyzing and articulating them. And then we can, from the ministry, factor them in when we are going to be looking at the RUSA flow of funds and the RUSA support to colleges like yours. So now there's a larger dimension. It's not just TECIP, it's also TECIP sustained. Now through a TECIP 3, there's a TECIP 3 that follows up in this, where IITK, I hope, grows into even a stronger national resource institution for resource support, but also in the context of RUSA. So funds are going to move into every college, not just from TECIP, but also from RUSA, where again we'll be looking at the IITs to be playing the role of national resource institutions to continue to give the academic support that's needed in order to to fulfill the objectives of RUSA. So that's the larger policy framework, which comprises of both administrative issues, governance issues, and of course financial resource support. So I wanted to use this forum to share that, because many people had doubts. Is this a kind of a small, short-lived project that we are doing? No, we're not doing a short-lived project. This project is only an instrument for doing a larger and sustained academic reform, very adequately supported by the Ministry of Human Resource Development. So this is, of course, a lot of very interesting ideas have come up now, and we've been discussing them off, and I'm sure they will come in future as well. But yes, this is a priority for us, and we are hoping that in the process of these discussions, mutually, the faculty that is participating and the faculty that is participating from both sides is able to identify some areas of continued collaboration, academic areas of continued collaboration, which we hope will translate into very clear learning outcomes in students and classroom processes, greater research engagement, and that then perhaps we can link this kind of an identification with groups of students and faculty from TECIP institutions and some from the mentoring institution to encourage international collaboration. So we're going to have small groups that go abroad to some of the countries that are very keen on this kind of an engagement. So we can add an international dimension of collaboration, which is academic in nature, to the ones that we are stimulating here. So you really have all levels covered then, the National Research Institution, the state level colleges, and then also the international exposure. So this way you're looking at quality all through in a very holistic manner. And that's all I had to say here right now. I want to thank all the institutions for participating here. We look forward for a report and for suggestions on how to strengthen this further. Promise you all the support from the ministry, obviously. Particularly thank Chandra and his team. There are a lot of young men, and I was going to say women, but there aren't really so many women here, So, and so thank all the young persons, all right, for this, for their dedication to this. And of course, last but definitely not the least, most importantly, Dr. Manna, for actually telling us in the ministry and all the other tech institutions and other IITs on what is really a working model of academic engagement, which is truly peer in nature and mutually enhancing. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Dr. Manna.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe we are getting into an era of openness, and this is very good. You see, there are also people who have been working in the background, enabling everything. And for this, I would like to call upon Professor Digraskar, who is the NPIU coordinator, to come and you see, he's the person who actually has been after your institutions to get you people here. He has been leveraging with the various people, getting frustrated because somehow data transfer is still a pretty poor state of affairs it is at. So anyway, so I would like him to come and talk to us. And after that, Professor Yadav will close with a word of thanks.
Honorable Director of the IIT Kanpur, Additional Secretary, Government of India, MHRD, all the dignitaries here, and the faculty members from the TechUp institutions. We had invited 74 participants here, but some 4 or 5 institutions have not turned up. We always request that everybody should come here and take the benefit of this pravartan we just started, and we really feel that this pravartan should lead towards the parivartan in all the colleges, and whatever has been learned here, whatever has been seen here, it should definitely we can replicate in our colleges also, so that really the objective of the TechUp will get fulfilled, as Additional Secretary also has just now said, that TechUp wants such type of things. We request that some more themes also should be conducted, such type of symposiums at the IIT Kanpur as well as in another IITs also. With the constant request from the MHRD, other IITs are also coming here, and coming in the support of the TechUp, and they are also extending such type of various symposia in other things. All the TechUp institutions can get benefits in the various themes also. I am really, on behalf of MHRD and NPIU, I am really thankful to all the speakers from the various IITs and the IISc Bangalore, and who have spent much time here and given their inputs to our TechUp institutions. This would have been really not possible because it is very difficult for the institutions, state government institutions or the private institutions, we want to approach the IIT. So this was a very great idea of MHRD, Additional Secretary Madam, and who has really given this new idea for the benefit of the students, because if these pedagogical skills are improved of the faculty, then definitely the technical knowledge which gets imparted to the students for the benefit, they will get benefited. So this is a very good initiative of the TechUp, a special feature of the TechUp has started. We are really thankful to all of you, sir. You have given a lot of inputs to the institutes. Thank you, sir.
I'll introduce myself. I'd rather like to be introduced as a teacher and a researcher. I have the pleasant task of thanking all of you for coming here. And I start with Mrs. Sharma for putting this tech whip on this feet. We hope that we'll be able to stand up to all your expectations and maybe go beyond it. I also thank the Institute, administration and the director for providing this facility, and hope this support will continue so that we keep having these type of organizations again and again. I thank the Quality Circle participants for standing up to the 18 heavyweight lectures that we had. I hope there is no fatigue and fracture, at least not to be seen. I hope this has induced some of you to some problems and areas of research, and we will have a fruitful interaction with you, which will continue, and with the different speakers that we had here. You have their addresses and you can be in their contact. I'd like to thank the speakers, each of them one by one. Dr. K. Muralidhar, Dr. Mahesh Thirumakulam, Dr. A. Dev, Dr. P. Chandramouli, Anindi Chatterjee, S. Mahesh, Vikram Racheria, V. Shankar, Amit Agarwal, C. Venkateshan, C. S. Manohar, P. Mohite, Vijay Patel, Anurag Gupta, D. Madhusudan, C. S. Upadhyay, G. Anant Suresh, and Naveen Tiwari. They took out time from their busy schedule. Some of you have come from long distances and honored your commitment. I attended almost all the lectures, and though I am not from the fluid mechanics side, I am from the dynamic side, I enjoyed most of them. And I expect that you have also enjoyed it. I thank the organizing team, Shakti Gupta, Shobhan Das, Pankaj Wahi, Ishant Sharma, Naveen Tiwari, Abhishek, V. Shankar, Anindi Chatterjee, S. Manohar, and Anurag Gupta. Mahesh, S. Mahesh. Did I miss any? You had done an excellent job, and the type of speakers that you selected was excellent. I enjoyed all the lectures. In the end, thank you all again. The participants, I did request to stay back because the certificates are to be distributed here. Yeah, along with the pen drives. And I hope all the participants reaction sheet, those that were given for you to fill up. If you have not done it, please do it now. We look forward to these very eagerly, because this would help us improve on whatever we have done and continue doing things better than what we have done this time. Thank you all.